Visigoth? Does it mean West Goth? Let's look into it. So, does it mean West Goth? Well, the thing is, people tend to get this assumption that it means West Goth because when we look at a map involving Visigoths and Ostrogoths, people tend to think in terms of correlation that, okay, well, we have Ostrogoth here, which means Eastern. And yes, it does mean Eastern. And how do we know this? Well, it's confirmed by Jordanus's Getica, where when he describes the Ostrogoths, he does say they are the Eastern ones, so to speak. So therefore, the Visi and Visigoth must mean West. That's really not the case at all, but it's a reasonable assumption that people tend to make, because you have the Ostrogoths, and then you have, like, when you look at maps, the Visigoths are located west of the Ostrogoths, so it makes sense to make this assumption. However, does it mean West? Likely not, because there are no attestations as of yet of such in late Latin or even Gothic. That's one thing to bear in mind. However, what is attested, though, with Visi involved, or what have you in its variants, is that it does appear as a tribal name in several manuscripts. So here are the sources that do mention Visi and its variants in one way or another. The first of which is the Notitia Dignitatum, circa 5th century, and this is dating before Sidonius, which is real interesting of itself because it actually lists the Visi, or what have you, as a tribe, and we'll get into that right here. So in the part that is called in partibus orientis, in the eastern parts, Visi, or if you will Wisi, is attested among the 18 Palatine auxilia, which is really interesting of itself. So, and then moving on with Sidonius, he in his Carmina, book 5, verse from 470 to 479, he does list the Visi or the Vessus or the Vessus here among other tribes, and he does it again with another attestation and possibly a third. I'm not too sure what this would mean. I'm not well versed in Latin or late Latin. For those of you who know Latin really well, please let me know what you think of these extracts from the source, so to speak. So we have this attestation as a tribe. Moving on to the 9th century with Wærferþ's translation of Gregory's dialogues, where we do have Visi attested, and we have a variant here, which I believe is a scribal error. Yes, people back then made mistakes too. That we have here in this passage that we have someone visiting or lodging, if you will, in Visi. Just to go even further, I've translated the part of the sentence where it mentions not only Visi, but also the latter half of it, so to speak. And it translates, well, I'm going to read the Old English because I can. There meithi gotena theode. So essentially, the translation of this is, of the tribe of the Goths nation. I've tried to translate this very literally because what's the stuff, you want this to be very literal when you want to know the history of what happened or what have you. It's the thing is with the term meithi, this is an inflected form of mēģþ, meaning well, this can mean a bunch of things. It could mean a generation. It could mean a country, a province, a tribe, because this is actually a collective noun of magas, or sorry, because mēģþ, sorry, forgive me, mei, of its own means kinsman, right? And so this word of itself, mēģþ, is a collective noun, so it's a group of kinsmen, so to speak, as a singular noun, but as a group, so to speak. So by extension, this means like a tribe very directly, because normally with mei, with mei, its plural form is magas, So that would be like saying the kinsman, the kinsman. So anyway, so this word here could be translated as tribe, province, country. And the thing is, why do I say that? Because not only does it say in the BT dictionary, it's just that when it comes to countries and provinces and places of this time, the way they would describe countries is like where the people are, where the tribes are, if that makes sense. And it's a bit of a way to kind of wrap our head around in today's context. Anyway, in today's time. So the interesting thing as well is that Goltena Theode. So we have here Goltena, which is literally Goths. So this is the plural genitive, the possessive plural. So it's like more than one Goths, and so this is like a tribe of the Goths nation. So so imagine they're like you have Goths, if you will, and under Goths you have like tribes. So as well, I have to say this, that Theod does mean nation, like as like a people at large, so to speak. So there is a distinction there between a Mēt, meaning a tribe, and Theod would be the larger part, so to speak. Yeah. So and the good thing about this sentence is that, or this fragment of a sentence, if you will, kind of shows that, where Theod is the larger part, so to speak, and the Mēt is like the tribe is like under the nation, so like it's part of the nation at large. Similarly, if I were to say Greeks, well, I mean they're Greek tribes. You got the Spartans, you got the Athenians, you got etc. etc. Well, the same thing with the Goths. I mean you have different tribes of Goths. So, but what is telling of this passage is that this does confirm, like the previous sources, that Visi is a tribal name. Moving on. So, as an aside, I just thought I'd throw this in, that Jordanus in his Getica, very valuable source when learning about the Goths. He mentions Visigoth. Forgive me, my late Latin isn't that good. He mentions them 49 times. So if you're ever wondering, and below here are the late Latin inflections of Visigoth or Visigoth. Again, I'm not well versed in late Latin, but moving on. He also says here that very explicitly, the Ostrogoths and the Visigoths are two peoples of the same tribe, so they're related. So it's not like one's different than the other or what have you. All right. So just want to point that out there. Moving on. So the point of this video is to really confirm that Visigoth, or the Visi, if you will, is really a kind of Goth, a Gothic tribe, right? In the same way, like the Greeks, for example, they're not a monolith. Like they're Greek tribes. Like you got the Spartans, you have the Athenians, etc., etc. Right? So in the same way, you got the Goths. You got different kinds of Gothic tribes, so to speak. So, but the question still remains, well, of someone else might have in their mind, well, what does Visi literally mean? Well, I hate to do this to you guys, but that'll be for another video. And so the main point of this video is to dispel this idea that Visi means west. That's really the point of this video. But moving on, yeah. So here's a visual here, just pointing out that a Goths is a group of Gothic tribes, if you will. You got the Gepidae. I got late Latin ethnonyms here, or if you will, exonyms or anyway. I'm mixing up my words here, but yeah. So you got the Gepidae, you got the Getai, the Ostro, Visi, and then you got the Goths themselves proper, which should be in there as well. But yeah. So Visi does not mean west, and so in conclusion, just to repeat myself once more, that the Visi in Visigoth does not mean west due to a lack of attestations as of yet. I mean, if there are any sources out there that we just haven't found yet, and that confirm that Visi does mean west, that would be great. But unfortunately, we do not have that. And B, what is attested that Visi is attested as a tribal name going back all the way to the 5th century, all the way to the 5th century to the 9th century. So we can safely confirm that Visi and Visigoth is just a tribal name. What it actually means, what it literally means, well, again, that's for another video. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you are new. And if you really like the channel, please become a patron at my Patreon page down below. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.